Did all of Israel punish the people of Gibeah because of their atrocity? Will that kind of activity be tolerated in the kingdom of God? Let's look at Judges 20. What was Israel's reaction to the news of the atrocity in Gibeah? Then all the Israelites were united as one man, from Dan in the north to Beersheba in the south, including those from across the Jordan in the land of Gilead. The entire community assembled in the presence of the Lord at Mizpah. The leaders of all the people and all the tribes of Israel, 400,000 warriors armed with swords, took their positions in the assembly of the people of God. Word soon reached the land of Benjamin that the other tribes had gone up to Mizpah. The Israelites then asked how this terrible crime had happened. What was the eyewitness testimony of the Levite to the assembled tribes of Israel? The Levite, the husband of the woman who was murdered, answered, "I came into Gibeah that belongs to Benjamin, I and my concubine, to spend the night. The men of Gibeah rose against me and surrounded the house by night. They intended to kill me, and they raped my concubine, and she's dead. I took my concubine and cut her in pieces, and sent her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Israel. For they've committed lewdness and folly in Israel. Behold, you children of Israel, all of you, give here your advice and counsel." What was the resolve of the other tribes against Gibeah? At this, all the people stood as one to say, "Not a single one of us is going home or returning to our house. This is what we're now going to do to Gibeah. We'll march up against it as the lot determines. From all the tribes of Israel, we'll get 10 men for every 100, 100 for every 1,000, and 1,000 for every 10,000, to take supplies for the troops who are going to pay back Gibeah of Benjamin for the disgraceful act they've done in Israel." So all the Israelites joined together and were united as one against the city. What was Benjamin's shocking reaction to the atrocity in their midst? The tribes of Israel sent messengers to every town and village in Benjamin, and wherever the messengers were sent, they said, "How could those worthless men in Gibeah do such a disgusting thing? We can't allow such a terrible crime to go unpunished in Israel. Hand the men over to us, and we'll put them to death." But the people of Benjamin refused to listen to the other Israelites. Men from towns all over Benjamin's territory went to Gibeah and got ready to fight Israel. The Benjamin tribe had 26,000 soldiers, not counting the 700, who were Gibeah's best warriors. In this army there were 700 left-handed experts who could sling a rock at a target the size of a hair and hit it every time. Did the people of Israel do the right thing by seeking God's will in this matter? And the men of Israel, apart from Benjamin, mustered 400,000 men who drew the sword. All these were men of war. The people of Israel arose and went up to Bethel and inquired of God, "Who shall go up first for us to fight against the people of Benjamin?" And the Lord said, "Judah shall go up first." Then the people of Israel rose in the morning and encamped against Gibeah. And the men of Israel went out to fight against Benjamin. And the men of Israel drew up the battle line against them at Gibeah. The people of Benjamin came out of Gibeah and destroyed on that day 22,000 men of the Israelites. But the people, the men of Israel, took courage and again formed the battle line in the same place where they'd formed it on the first day. And the people of Israel went up and wept before the Lord until the evening. And they inquired of the Lord, "Shall we again draw near to fight against our brothers, the people of Benjamin?" And the Lord said, "Go up against them." Did the people of Israel again do the right thing and seek God's will in this matter? On the second day, the Israelites advanced against the Benjamites. That same day, the Benjamites came out from Gibeah to meet them, and slaughtered an additional 18,000 Israelites on the field. All were armed men. The whole Israelite army went to Bethel, where they wept and sat before the Lord. They fasted that day until evening, and offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings to the Lord. Then the Israelites inquired of the Lord. In those days the ark of the covenant of God was there, and Phinehas son of Eleazar, son of Aaron, was serving before it. The Israelites asked, "Should we again fight against our brothers the Benjamites, or should we stop?" The Lord answered, "Fight, because I'll hand them over to you tomorrow." Who won the day in the next battle? Did Israel set a trap? So Israel set soldiers in ambush around Gibeah. The Israelis went out against the descendants of Benjamin on the third day, arraying themselves against Gibeah, as they had done previously. They attacked the army and were drawn away from the city as they began to inflict casualties on the soldiers along the roads to Bethel and Gibeah, just as they'd done the other times. About 30 soldiers from Israel fell in battle there and in the fields. Then the descendants of Benjamin told themselves, "They're falling right in front of us, just like before." But the army of Israel told themselves, "Let's draw them away by escaping to the highways from the city." So the entire army of Israel moved from their location and arrayed themselves at Baal-Tamar, while that part of the army moved from their ambush positions from Gibeah. As 10,000 of Israel's best soldiers came to fight Gibeah, the battle became fierce, but the army of Benjamin didn't know that disaster was close at hand. The Lord struck Benjamin in the full view of Israel. As a result, the Israelis destroyed 25,100 soldiers of Benjamin that day, all expert swordsmen. Did the tribe of Benjamin fall for the trap set by the other tribes? So the children of Benjamin saw that they were smitten, for the men of Israel gave place to the Benjamites, because they trusted to the liers in wait, which they'd set beside Gibeah. And the liers in wait hasted, and rushed upon Gibeah, and the liers in wait drew themselves along, and smote all the city with the edge of the sword. Now there was an appointed sign between the men of Israel and the liers in wait, that they should make a great flame with smoke rise up out of the city. And when the men of Israel retired in the battle, Benjamin began to smite and kill of the men of Israel about 30 persons. For they said, "Surely they're smitten down before us, as in the first battle." Did the army of Benjamin finally lose the battle against Gibeah? But the cloud began to rise from the city in a column of smoke, and Benjamin turned behind them, and behold, the whole city was going up in smoke to heaven. Then the men of Israel turned around again, and the men of Benjamin were dismayed, for they saw that calamity had reached them. Therefore they turned their backs before the men of Israel, toward the direction of the wilderness. But the battle overtook them, and those who came out of the cities destroyed them in the midst of them. They surrounded Benjamin, pursued them without rest, and trod them down opposite Gibeah to the east toward the sunrise. Thus 18,000 men of Benjamin fell. All these were valiant men, and the rest turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. But they caught 5,000 of them on the highways, and overtook them at Gidom, and struck down 2,000 of them. So all of Benjamin who fell that day were 25,000 men who drew the sword. All these were valiant men, but 600 men turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon, and they remained at the rock of Rimmon 4 months. Now the men of Israel returned to the sons of Benjamin, and struck them with the edge of the sword, both the entire city, with the cattle, and all that they found. They also set on fire all the cities which they found. Will unrighteous acts be tolerated in the kingdom of God? Or don't you know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God? Don't be deceived. Neither the sexually immoral, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor homosexuals, nor thieves, nor the greedy, nor those habitually drunk, nor verbal abusers, nor swindlers will inherit the kingdom of God. Did all of Israel punish the people of Gibeah because of their atrocity? Will that kind of activity be tolerated in the kingdom of God? You decide.